Steven Universe is the property of Cartoon Network, Rebecca Sugar, and its respective owners. Any and all footage or images have been used for the sole purpose of critique or parody, and as such are protected under fair use. Please support the official release. Hey, how are you? I'm Sliceville Otaku, and it's time for the review of Storm in the Room. Now, this was a very heartfelt and touching episode. It was very emotionally charged, and for that reason, there wasn't much progression in terms of the plot and sort of information that we're seeking. So I'm sure some people are gonna label this as filler, but do not. This was not filler. If this is filler, then you really don't care about these characters. You don't care about the progression, because more so than a Beach City episode where it's, I guess, arguable, but this is Steven. He is the main character being afflicted by these issues that have been plaguing him since episode 1, since before the show even began. So to see him, in a sense, come to terms with this, to go and confront this head on, is a big step for this character. It is character development, and it's him learning about himself while also learning about his mom, coping with his issues. The episode opens up with Steven and Connie in Steven's house, and Steven is still dressed in his zoo garments, so it's interesting to see the passage of time with these episodes. I mean, not much time has passed since Steven's dream. It's pretty interesting that they're going with such a day-to-day basis for these episodes. But yeah, Connie is worried about her mom because she's calling and her mom's not picking up. And it seems like whenever Connie is paranoid about something, whenever she's worrying, she blocks others out. She blocks Steven out. She doesn't even really interpret what he's saying or hear him, just like when he had a bald cap in Mindful Education. I think that's, I guess, a bad trait of Connie's. I also have this trait at times, and at times it is a pain for others to deal with, as it is with Steven in this episode. And Connie's mom finally appears, and she was just held up at the hospital. But seeing this bond between mother and child just made Steven's inner feelings that he's been trying to suppress, and he's actually been trying to suppress at the beginning of this episode, to just show, and he is in pain after they leave. And also, while they were leaving, Miss Maheshwaran asked Connie how Steven was at the spa, which Connie corrects her to be space. So they're a lot more open in comparison to how they were in the episode Nightmare Hospital. So there's more character development between those two that we didn't get to see off screen. Then Steven heats up some macaroni and cheese, which is pretty relatable because, like, you know, that cheap, that basic, easy mac, almost everyone's done it at this point. And he looks up at Rose's photo and is uncomfortable. He cannot eat in the same room, which is crazy. Steps out, there is a storm outside, and he comes back, and the water that has drenched him, he's now, like, it's white for some reason. I don't know why this was. I was looking at the leaked photos a while back, and it was just, I thought it was milk because it was just pure solid white, which was, I guess, interesting. And with Steven looking at the picture, it's good to know that I'm not the only one who's investigating and trying to interpret these pictures. I did a video with that. Steven says how he wishes that he could know the real Rose, not the one that everyone portrays her to be, which was, you know, deep. I think that's what the entire viewership wants to see. We want to see the real Rose and her actual reasonings for everything that she's done. So the room opens up and calls him. So he goes in and asks for Rose, which, you know, pretty much everybody saw coming. But they end up playing video games and then sports because that's what Steven associates with something you do with your parent. And it's kind of interesting that he says that instead of something that you would do with your mother, because he has Greg, and even if he did say it with his mother, he has 3 mother figures in his life, maybe even 5 if you count his 2 aunts, Lapis and Peridot. Now, this Rose wasn't as fake and artificial as you'd expect. She actually said certain things without him prompting her to. And Steven is actually happy. He questions why he had never done this before. And I question that all the time with Steven, but whatever. He's genuinely so happy to be in the presence of his mother, or at least the closest thing to her. And he begins to cry, picks up his phone to take a selfie with her, and there's nothing there. He is by himself talking to himself because this is his perspective of what Rose should be. This is his perception of everything that has been told to him about Rose. Well, one half of it, because the other half comes through and he's ranting to her. He's just venting out his emotions to her, his questions. What about Bismuth? What about the gems? You just left them. It was so powerful. This was one of the most powerful, emotionally charged moments in all of Steven Universe. So once again, to call this filler is incorrect. And then to calm him down, she says something about the video, how she wanted to embrace him, how she wanted to be in his life but just couldn't because it was impossible. This is interesting because I wonder if this is just Steven saying this to himself, contradicting himself. I don't really understand. The room is weird. It is very, very weird in how it works. It's based on what Steven expects. But then again, certain things he's never seen, never encountered, like in the past with his video game, the secret ending. Was that just him throwing up an ending that he expected to happen? And if that's the case, why do it at all? It's weird. It's very, very weird. And this almost serves as a call to action for Steven. He realizes that Rose is a part of him and he has to deal with her problems now because of that. I'm curious if this will change his demeanor and how he goes about things in regards to Homeworld and all the problems that Rose left behind. Will he do certain things because that he knows that it's his responsibility now? Before it was just, okay, we have to clean up Rose's mess, but now it's almost like cleaning up his own mess. It's very interesting. Steven from there proceeds to leave the room and is just about to brew in his despair. Like, he turns away from his mac and cheese, didn't even touch it, and is ready to just wallow in his sorrow, be alone. But then the Gems and Greg come through with a pizza. Okay, let me collect myself. A damn pizza. I thought they were going for the rubies. I gave them the benefit of the doubt when the leak came through. A pizza? 3 gems and a human. Why? Why are they needed, all of them, the entire squad, to get one pizza? And it wasn't even the right pizza. They didn't have pepperoni. What are you doing? Pepperoni? Red? Are you talking about the rubies? Is that subtlety? Are you trying to upset me? Like, really, what's the deal? Did anybody anticipate this? Did they expect a pizza? Really, to come back with a pizza? And by the way, Kofi's pizza is not too far away. Why were they gone for so long? I mean, Steven was with Connie. Then he heated up his food, he did all this other stuff, went into the room for how long? I mean, really, what were they doing? I don't buy it. They had to have been talking about certain things without him being present again. If they didn't, then it doesn't make sense why it took so long. And if they did, why are you leaving my man in the dark again? He should not tell them anything about Rose, anything about seeing Rose if that's the case. I don't like all these secrets within the team. So yeah, I guess you could say I'm a bit heated after the end of this episode. But anyways, let me know what you thought about this episode, and be sure to share this video with anybody you'd go through a storm for. Thanks for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.